Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today it's what you've all been waiting for at least, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days. Yes, we just did parts 1 and 2 showing the complete runs of DC's Young Romance. If you missed those, I'll have the links down below. All 85 issues of DC's series. And so today we're starting part 1 of the complete run of the sister series. It's Young Love. Today we'll be doing Young Love numbers 39 to 79. And then later on down the road we'll be doing part 2 where we cover issues 80 through 126. All 88 issues of DC's Young Love. Now, I mentioned last time, Young Romance has sort of the keys. It has the great cover artwork, some all-time classics, and it's got some cool stories. But for me, Young Love actually is more my favorite. It's got some really funky stuff, some crazy stories. Towards the end of the series, there's just some absolutely nuts stories. And there's also a lot of great covers. Plus, this has not one but 2 different ongoing soap opera serialized stories. 3 depending on how you count. And you know I love those. So today we're going to jump in. We're going to start off with Young Love number 39 right here. Now, I mentioned last time, and I've mentioned this many times over the years, but Young Love, of course, started by Joe Simon, Jack Kirby back in the 40s. And the series has a weird publishing history. It ran through about issue, I don't know, 73 or so, 74. Ended up being canceled. Then Prize started a new series in its place called All for Love that ran through issue 17, from 1 to 17, and then they renamed it Young Love with number 18. So the numbering goes to 1 to 74 or whatever. Then it starts with 18 and it runs from 18 to 126. So volume 2, number 39 is the first DC issue because they bought off both Young Love and Young Romance at this time. So issues 18 to 38 are from Prize, and then here we are, 39. And DC, now with Young Romance, they had one issue they put out, and then they started their ongoing serialized soap opera with the second issue of Young Romance, and that's the Bonnie Taylor. Over here we have Mary Robin, registered nurse. So we've got the airline stewardess having her adventures around the world over in Young Romance, but here it's all classic soap opera stuff because it's all hospital drama. It's like General Hospital, but in the 60s. And just like the series over there in Young Romance, the covers are being done by John Romita. So we got some great John Romita covers. I don't think the covers for this series are as good as the other series, but they're still good. It's still John Romita. Don't get me wrong. Here's issue 40. This was the hardest issue for me to find, number 40. But I'm not exactly sure why. 39, not as hard to find for me personally. 40 was the hardest issue of the whole run for me to get. 41, just some great John Romita covers here. Let me angle this, see if I can angle this a little bit different so there's a little less glare. We got 42. This is a cool cover. The guy that's blind is going, "From the moment I saw you just before the operation, I've loved you, Anna. You with your golden hair, your blue eyes." And she's going, yes, Jim. And then that's Anna saying that. And then back here is Mary going, "He's describing me." Yeah, he's got no idea that he's been catfished. He's been catfished. Here's a really cool cover. 43. Really like this one where she's clutching the files, sitting in the darkened office, just dreaming of a passionate lip lock. "Danny's not kissing me. I'm kissing him." Well, hopefully you're kissing each other, because otherwise I don't really understand. But whatever, it's the 60s. 44. that last one was called Shadow of Love. This one is Double Heartbreak, and this is a classic romance motif here. My own sister and Bill, how can I ever bear to look at them again? Yes, the sister. There's nothing worse, according to romance comics, than having a sister. Because the bonds of sisterhood, what they're going to get you is they're going to get your man stolen and you're going to get betrayed. That's classic romance comic trope. Best friends as well. So basically, if you're a woman, what these romance comics are telling you is you cannot have a stable relationship with any other woman because they will steal your man, because that's what women do. So the only real safe way to go is to only hang out with your boyfriend. So written by men. I don't know. 45. Now here's a really cool cover. This is one where that actually does look a lot like the Young Romance covers over there with Bonnie Taylor, because they're out in this dramatic countryside. He's in a wheelchair, but you've got this great, the mountains and the trees and the sky, and she's thinking, will this one wonderful kiss from Steve have to last me a lifetime? One kiss for always. Here's one that has giant grease pencil on the cover. How long can I go on helping her become beautiful for the man I love? Veil of Silence. As you can see, it's also wrote a giant number 60 on it, so it's a little distracting. Usually I don't mind writing on the cover. This is a little much for me, but here's a nice dramatic cover. Here's a good one. It's 47. What are you doing? It's Connie you love. But you're here. She sent you in her place, didn't she? You know what they say, if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. And Mary Robin is not down with that, but this guy couldn't care less. The art on this is super cool. Check out the way the ship in the background, there's this giant ship, and it's only suggested through these lines, through these scratchy lines. There's no actual like solid. It's just that the scratchy lines get thicker around the ship. So it's like it's in a fog. Oh, so cool. Really neat. 48. You're all I remember, Mary, and all I ever want to remember. It's my duty to remind Nicky about his past with Lila. But if I do, I'll lose him. Yes, the guy has amnesia. No. I think every Nurse in Love series has some issue where the patient has amnesia. A searing new episode in the life and loves of a beautiful young nurse in a large metropolitan hospital. Two-sided heart. Okay, this is probably arguably the best cover in the whole run from DC. With one, there's another one that I personally like better, but it's one of the top two. Absolutely great cover from John Romita. The colors on this, though, which is not Romita. I don't know if it's Adler or I don't know who's doing the covers, the colors. Irish Shap, maybe. I don't know. But whoever is absolutely killing it with this one. Just great. You'll hate me when you see what a coward I am. I can't operate. Yes, you can, Val. You must. For the sake of a man's life. And our love. Great cover. Number 50, still going strong here. So we're this is the 12th issue of the Mary Robin series, and this is the last one with her on the cover, but she continues in the background for a while, for a couple more issues, which is also what happened with Bonnie Taylor. I haven't the right to kiss you, Mary. Tell me I haven't the right. I can't. I won't stop you. A blistering chapter in the life of a beautiful nurse in a large metropolitan hospital. It's number 50. 51. Okay, again, she's now backup story, not the cover story. Dramatic, bright color. So here's 50. And then 51, I feel like we get a change of direction in terms of the art direction here. We start to get the big heads. We start to get some other artists mixed in, as well as John Romita, and we start to get some really bright, bold colors. There's been a lot of really muted color palettes. A little bit of that is because I have lower grade copies, but a lot of it has to do with just the way they're done. But that's changing now. That is changing. We're not quite to the go-go checks yet, so I don't think that we're at the point yet where Infantino has become art director, but something's changed in the way that these are being done. So you will see this again on 52. Gene Colan cover. I love the black and yellow. There's also just a hint of, I think it's green, maybe, on the outlines. And this is an ugly duckling transformation story. I was happy when I looked like this. All my troubles began on the day I looked like this. So the day where she went from being 14 years old to being 35, that's the day the troubles started. 53, I got a couple nice copies here, like really, really nice, clean, with bright colors here. Got a few here in a row that are just really sharp. This is number 53. I love, again, the bright colors. Romita. And then 54, also a really nice copy with really sharp colors. A lot of big heads. Still Romita. You can really, for me, you can really tell with the way he draws the women. Look, baby. Look, baby. What I do is my business. Wait for me in that car as I told you to. Why do I keep taking his insults? Why can't I stop loving him? Oh, no. She wanted to hate him after what he had done, but she was helpless because she was too much in love. Get out of there. Get out of there, lady. These are supposed to be romance comics, and then I find myself shouting at the covers that she needs to break it off, like, every time. Okay, 55. Is mother always right when it comes to picking the man you should love? Read, someone of my own to love. How can I say goodbye to the man I love to marry the man my mother picked? Okay, here's the handsome, just hunk of manhood who she's in love with. And then here's this dweeby. He looks like the elongated man. He's like a caricature of Fred Astaire. Like, yeah. No wonder she doesn't want to go with that guy. Here's another bright color. You can just see the change in direction. Just the colors, the way these things are colored is just so much brighter. We are in the go-go checks era now as well. We're starting to mix in some other artists. I actually looked up some of these artists, and we go basically from almost all Romita, and then there's a long period where we get a lot of J. Scott Pike, which we're about to move into, and then after that is Giordano. There's a couple other people. I don't remember the name of this artist. I think it's the only cover that he does. It has sort of the sketchiness that we associate with Pike, but it's not Pike. It's you can tell the women are not drawn as, assuredly as Pike. It has an interesting texture to it. 58. Should you tell a man how you really feel about him? I'm going to say yes on that one. A frank lesson in love story. If you love me, say it. Tell me so. I don't dare tell you because every time I opened up my heart, I lost the one I love. I hope she's got a good hold on him because otherwise she is about to just go ass over tea kettle. Like I don't know if she has vertigo or what, but again, look at the gorgeous, just deep, deep colors. You see so many low-grade romance books that when you have nicer copies with gloss and color, the difference is just so stark. And a lot of mine are low grade. So 59. I think we're into the Pike covers at this point. I think you can see what I'm saying about it. They just don't pop as much as a lot of the young romance covers. Here's one with a nice date stamp. January 19, 1967. See the cool date stamp right there. Another Pike cover. What would you do if the man you loved found out that you were a girl with a reputation? You know who has a reputation? John Wick. No one has any problem with that. 61. How faithful should a girl be while waiting for her steady to return? Well, in this one, I would say you should be very faithful. That's the whole point of being steady. Read, love is a million miles away, but your boyfriend won't be back for 3 long years. What's wrong with dating me till he gets back? I might have to check this one out. Just from the context, it might be a Vietnam story. Anyway, again, some really bright background colors. They're really making these pop. With the background colors and the coloring, even though I don't feel like the art's really that exciting. Unless you love gigantic, gigantic heads. 62. Let me see if I can... Yeah, I'm trying to... What do you think? Stay away from my son. I told you before, you're not good enough for him. So we've had a little bit of... We've started to... When they first went to the go-go checks and they were doing these bright things, there was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of text boxes, a lot of things. Really simplifying here. Really simplified. They probably need all the space to fit that huge melon. Huge melon. 63. Sometimes a girl can be too careful with her kisses. Read, let's not fall in love. Here's another tennis cover. They do like the tennis covers. And great, deep, deep, like midnight blue. 64. He loved her, but enough to marry her against his family's wishes? Waiting for the end of love. Here's a smeared date stamp, but it's September 11, 1967. $65. Now, this is not Pike. You can tell it's just much cleaner lines. 65. How long could she hide the burning secret in her past? Honey, meet the guy who's going to be the best man at our wedding. Oh no! Not him! Okay, it's John Wick. So it turns out they do have a problem with his reputation. I spoke too soon. 66. This one I've always really liked because the woman on the cover looks exactly like Adele, even though this came out, in 1967. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. Hello. Yeah. 67, really low grade. He wanted me and I lost him because of one stupid mistake. Here's a wedding cover where the bridesmaid is pining away. Okay. Remember earlier where I said there was a toss-up for me, which is the best of the covers? Now, we'll see next time 104, which is my favorite romance comic. And that has an amazing cover because the story is so wackadoodle. But this is actually my favorite cover of the run. It's number 68. The first Life and Loves of Lisa St. Clair cover. It's J. Scott Pike, but this time it's inked by Dick Giordano. So it doesn't have the same sketchiness that a lot of the Pike covers have had during this period. It's much more sort of refined, although there's still sketchiness in this part. But this image of Lisa St. Clair, just one of my favorites. My copy is quite nice, except for it has a pop staple. If it didn't have a pop staple, it would probably be like a 7.5. Um, but it does. But it looks beautiful. I love yellow covers. J. Scott Pike draws women like nobody else, so that's my favorite. And I love ongoing soap operas. So we got The Life and Love of Lisa St. Clair, though not in the next issue, because the next issue is a rarity. It's the only romance in the DC Giant series. So Young Love number 69. It's all reprints. So this one's more expensive than the ones around it. It's harder to get because there are a lot of people that collect a full set of all the Giants, and this is maybe the hardest of the Giants to get if you're putting that together, because the romance are just harder to find. So this is a bit of a tough one. Mine's really trashed. I don't really care about reprints, so this is not one that I felt like I needed to get in high grade. Giordano's doing most of the covers at this point now. Number 70. It gets a little confusing here. It's like, Lisa, I love you so, but if your father finds out about us, forget my father, Blake. He'll never know. Here's the dad, of course, in the seat. What's confusing is it's an older man who also has the gray at the temples. And so we get a lot of sort of daddy issue covers coming up. And sometimes it's a little unclear whether it's actually her dad or if it's another guy that just looks like her dad, and whether there's something romantic going on. And it starts to get creepy and weird. You'll see what I mean. 71. '72. Another classic motif in romance covers. It's the artist who is painting the woman. '73. How dare you criticize me, father? I am what you've made me. It's just a little weird to me that so many of the covers for her run here aren't about the romance with the guys. It's about her relationship with her father. It's just a little strange for a romance comic, because the next one is this one. She's yelling at her father that, everything's his fault. But then in the next one, she's saying, oh, daddy, what's wrong with me? Why can't I find a man to love me? And he's just like, get me out of this comic book. I've got important business. 75. I never wanted anyone until I met you, little chick. You never wanted me until you found out how rich I am. So we've got the same artist guy who's been in the series since at least 71. 76, next issue. This will be a ride you'll never forget, baby. The people on motorcycles on these covers always come across as though something horrible is about to happen, right? Here's another one where he's like, this is a ride you'll never forget, baby. Like, you can just sense the menace, and there's so many covers from this period where the guy's on a motorcycle and he's bad news. The writers of these want you to make sure you know that these guys are bad news. 77, we're getting a lot of like blank white backgrounds in these. You're nothing but a hired hand. Do the job I paid you for. Kiss me. So I think this is the same guy that was on the motorcycle. You can tell by this stupid handkerchief around his neck. What's a little bit odd is that this next issue, 78, is the last issue of the Life and Loves of Lisa St. Clair, and she's not on the cover. So after all of that build up, when we get to the climax, they don't show it on the cover. But what we do have on the cover is the first issue of 20 Miles to Heartbreak, which is another serialized soap opera. But what's interesting is the story's 4 issues long, or it's in 4 parts, broken up over 4 issues. But it jumps from one title to another. So part 1 is here, part 2 is in Secret Hearts. Then it comes back to Young Love for part 3, and then back to Secret Hearts. So Why, Melanie? Why must you leave me? I'm so ashamed, Roger. This love is wrong. Beginning in this issue, the soul-searing story of Melanie Winters, a girl running blindly from a forbidden love on a desperate trip that will take her 20 miles to Heartbreak. This is a great story. We're going to see it again because it gets reprinted in Young Love right at the end of the series. Art by the great Alex Toth. Written by Barbara Friedlander. So I have 3 of my 4 issues in this story are signed because she does a lot of conventions up in this area. And there's the 4th one, I just haven't seen her since I got it because I was missing it. And so we're going to stop here with 79. I was going to originally stop with the last Life and Loves, but then it started this other one. So we're going to start up here with 79, the last Young Love part of 20 Miles to Heartbreak. And then we again have another all blank white cover. We get a whole bunch of these right at the end. It's a little bit odd. I don't exactly know why they decided to do that. The other thing that we haven't talked about is this logo. Now, we saw in Young Romance that they went through several logos in quick succession. And I haven't matched up the times, but I have the sense that the change in logos was taking place with both books at the same time. So if you look at the 2 titles together, stuff happens that are synchronized. Like we get the soap operas right at the beginning when they both start, and then we get the logo changes, I think, and we get more logo changes are coming up. This is probably the best of the logos for me. It's not perfect, but I really like this one. I think in general the logos in here are a little bit better than Young Romance. We're going to get a really bad logo coming up after this one for a little while, and then we're going to get a big chunky logo, and then we're going to get a classic logo, and they're just going to be all over the place with the logos. There's several more logos to come. I mean, sales are slipping for comics in general. By the time we get to this point here, it's almost to the point where the market really starts to crash in like 1970, 71. And romance comics in particular are dying out, and so we can see them really struggling, but there's still another 47 more issues of this series to go, and we're going to cover all those in the next video. But that's it for this time. Let me know what you think down below, and thanks for watching me go through all these cool romance comics. Looking forward to sharing the next batch with you. See you then.